I just love that baby making music. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to have a new intro line. I'm gonna have to write
No, I
something
mean,
for you.
there's no two ways about it. There's no other way of putting it. That is baby making music. JR?
I think it's pretty funky. I
Oh,
like
yeah.
fucking like a monkey.
Yeah. I mean, when I say baby making music, I am not lying to you. I'm telling you right
Uh,
now, I got sperm inside of me jumping around, dancing around. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
that was a great look, JR.
That caught me completely off guard. I
You
did
never
not-
saw a sperm dance? Yeah, you haven't seen mine.
So is yours doing the Charleston?
Oh yeah, hell yeah! I
Doing
mean,
the
it's
Charleston?
doing the Macarena right now. Welcome to a Pinch of Basile show. It's Wednesday, March 9th, and we are indeed back. It's the best damn radio / podcast show ever. I want to bring you fantastic guests who are the movers and the shakers around the world. I'm talking people in entertainment, news, authors, politicians, and sports figures from all over the world. I am your wonderful and gracious and modest host, Basil, along with our own Miss America of Love, Janice Hermson, and our ebony brother, of love and chief engineer, J.R. Quitman. We are indeed broadcasting our show, streaming it live on Twitch at A Pinch of Basile. Let me see, on Facebook at Basile Fans, on Twitter at Basile Fans, and also on YouTube at Basile the Comedian. Hey, by the way, while you're there, would you just go ahead and just hit that little button that says subscribe? Would you do that?
Right there.
There you go.
Right there in
Hit
the
that button. Subscribe to me. Let me know what y'all are thinking. And listen, you get it in there. What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start giving away stuff like T-shirts, cards, and stuff like that, where people can go ahead and download my different videos. We're working on a brand new special right now that I'm going to be doing. It looks like in Atlantic City. I'm not going to say where yet because we haven't gotten the okay, but it looks like we're going to be doing something. And of course, don't forget, hey, we're on Anchor right now. That's right, with 8 different outlets, including Spotify and Apple podcasts, just to name a couple. And let's not forget Greek Beat Radio. That takes us all over the world, from Australia to South Africa to Europe, North America, and Central and South America. And of course, as always, I love to hear from you, our greatest listeners in the world, and you can comment on what we're talking about. And we'll even answer our guests, your questions to our guests, for we love hearing from your questions as well. We really do. You can even call in with a toll-free number at 844-523-2633. That's 844-523-2633. Like I said, we really want to hear from you, my special listeners. So go to my social outlets, as I just mentioned to you. You can even email us at info, INFO, at A Pinch of Basile. Isn't that easy? That's so easy. Follow and join me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Basile Fans, Basile Fans. And that's really about it. Concert dates coming up. Hey, I'm going to be on the Royal Caribbean ship, the Enchantment of the Seas, going to the Bahamas. And then April 1st, I will be in Wilmington, North Carolina at the famous Thalian Hall and concert. And opening for me will be our good friend. Go ahead, JR. Tell them who it is.
Mr. Wills Maxwell Jr., baby.
Yeah, you've seen him before on WWAY with his fun news reports that he does. So make sure you come and catch me. Hey, you want to find out about the dates that we're going to be at? Because we're also going to be in Detroit. Hey, listen, I got a big show there at Andiamo's April 29th. So make sure you go to basilelive.com. That's BASILELIVE.com. And to find out more, just go to my website, like I just told you. Fundraisers, corporate events, private parties, theaters, comedy clubs. Email me at basilelive.com. In a few minutes, our guest, NFL great, Bob Golic, 2-time All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler. Still looking, I mean, I am really Jones about this because I've been wanting him to be on my show for a long, long time. And it was tough to get him, but I'll tell you what, we finally did. And he's a great guy, good friend. And he's always been a wonderful guy and extremely talented. I'm just really happy. And today, this afternoon, I got to be honest with Janice and both you this afternoon, we did a small little mini pinch, a little pinch. How'd you do it? A little bit, just a little bit, get a little bit. As we did a Pinch of Basile, we had some fun today, and I'll be damned. We were talking about how we couldn't fit into our baseball uniforms in Little League. I've been getting so much crap about that. So yeah.
Hey, the struggles of a Husky kid, right?
Yeah, and Husky, if you were a big guy like Jay and I both were when we were kids, you had to go to the Husky department. And then I found out that Husky, a French word for fat ass. So little did I know that's what Husky meant. Janice, you never had that problem because you're
Never.
slim. No. There's no Huskette.
Never.
There was never a Huskette department for you girls. You just were just
Oh.
beautiful as it were. But me and JR, and tell them about the uniforms. What number we had to be stuck with?
Oh, 13.
13. And
13.
why? Because 13 was the biggest size.
Right? Because when you with us big fellas in the baseball uniforms, a 13 just looks like a big B.
Yeah. Yeah.
I learn something new every time I come on this show. Amazing.
That's beautiful. It's so sad.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And that story I told you, man, I haven't told that story about hitting the ball in the cabbage field. In cabbage field, it was a Little League game, hit the ball in the cabbage field. The outfielders were looking for it. The infielders looking for it. The umpires were trying to look for it. Even the farmer of the cabbage field was looking for it. They finally found it. I got to second base, and that was about it.
Really? Had to slide, and it was a close call.
Just me. Thank God that umpire that was in the field, it couldn't see, and he just called it.
Good luck.
So I gotta tell you, that was, and I paid the price for that for years. Ain't you know? Meanwhile, I've been kicking everyone's ass on the football field, and all of a sudden, weren't you the one that wound up hitting that ball in the cabbage field, and you only got to second base? Yeah, that was me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh my goodness.
My God.
So Paul Bond says that he's here now, so the show can start.
Oh, thank goodness.
Hey,
Okay.
Good for you, Paul. You
Yes.
picked that up.
Until Paul's in the building.
Let me see. Evmorphia. What a beautiful name. Paul Bond, Evmorphia. Dino Miliotis is watching. Hey, Dino, how you doing, brother? Hey, I'm so sorry about your mama. Gregory, let me see. Valiakos is watching as well. Valiakos. So all of you, I got to tell you, man, it's always great to have my friends, with a great guest tonight. Again, Bob Golic will be with us. Janice, anything going on the news I should be leery about?
Nah.
Nothing special?
Nah, just the same old stuff. Ukraine, Russia.
Yeah,
Ukraine,
I know.
Russia.
Yeah.
The C-19 thing is done, so now we move on.
Okay, that's it. Nothing. Okay.
What can I say?
I know. What are you gonna tell
mean,
you?
Yeah, I could tell you a lot, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, you gotta keep your mouth shut because we'll be taken off the air, right? Even if it's factual, can't say it.
I got taken off, so I'm not going to use those words for you.
No, you can't. And
the trigger
I
word.
would not want us to get a strike here.
No, certainly
No
not.
strikes.
I mean, I said something the other day over on wrote it on Instagram, and I got don't do that again. And I'm like, okay, you all were thinking it. I was the only one who said anything about it.
But on a little bit of a serious note, I have to say that censorship is just, you see all these books behind me. We publish. That's what we do, and censorship just doesn't work. So that's all I'm going to say. And I am allowing them to censor us a little bit, but that's for you, Basil.
Yeah, well,
so that we hang out here.
Yeah, it's tough to be a good, a good boy and fall within the rules. But I love my fans
These
so
days,
much. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
You can't, you really can't do anything anymore, without. Well, we're just not allowed to say that, So it's just like, I want to get back to the old days. But nonetheless, it's
Well, we
it's
want
a
to
lot of fun.
remind everybody, though, in light of that, let's talk a little bit. And I'm going to probably put a poll out here for everybody.
Hmm.
We'd like to know what social media platforms besides Facebook, because you guys are great on Facebook,
Hmm.
but we'd like to know what other platforms you like in case something does explode here, that we will know where to send you, and hopefully you'll join us on some of our other social media sites like YouTube. I think YouTube is one a lot of people like. We're on Twitch, Anchor.
Hmm.
So anyway, we'll put a little poll out there, and maybe you guys can share
Yeah,
with us what you.
as a
Go ahead.
matter of fact, as you guys were commenting on the side of the show, from Gregory and Dino and Evmorphia and Paul and everything, let us know, because seriously, we do want to know. I love this show too much. I love our guests that come on and they want to express themselves, and sometimes we just can't let them express themselves because everyone just gets a little bit uptight. So we certainly don't
Yeah.
want to do that. Right.
Nope.
So yeah, let us know. Absolutely. I went out to dinner tonight with my wife before. JR, have you done this before? Because your schedule's so
Went out to
tight
dinner with
between.
my wife? No,
Yeah.
no,
No, no, you don't want that,
no.
man.
That hadn't happened in years, brother.
Yeah, way too
Years.
romantic. Yeah. What's a romantic night for you and your wife, man?
Ooh, that's a good question. Little dinner, and she's not a drinker or anything, so a couple cocktails for me, of course. Nice little
Naturally.
dinner,
Yeah.
nice little. Well, of course, with my budget, I'm renting out a restaurant. I'm renting out her favorite restaurant. Buying,
You're going to rent it out?
yeah.
I am learning so many things about you, JR. This is just incredible.
Wallet is deep. The wallet.
It's
There's no
deep.
end. There's no
Yeah.
end to it.
So what is like it costs to close down a McDonald's and just to have it you and your wife together for that beautiful.
Did I see that middle finger go up? Is that what I
Was
saw?
that what did you just? Oh my goodness! What? I don't need this.
So yeah, no, that wasn't the middle. That was just.
I'm just getting you in trouble, JR.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, but I'm a romantic kind of guy. I'd probably, if we're gonna have a night out, I'd probably write a little poem early in the day for her, you know what I mean? Oh yeah.
You do poetry?
Bro.
See what you learned?
I won like national runner up to some national poetry contest type deal.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like poetry, man. I write poetry. I used to. I haven't in a long time. Don't get me sitting here lying, but no, it's no, yeah. I've been known to write a couple of good poems,
stanzas here and there. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
For me, I don't know if you guys knew this or not. I've been involved in Japanese haiku for many years, and and with my haiku, when I do that, I always mention the city of Nantucket for some odd reason.
Can't even imagine.
If you can't do haiku and you got to mention the city of Nantucket when you do haiku. You know what I'm saying?
And I love it. Short and sweet. What is 3 bars, 3 lines?
Yeah.
Short and sweet, just make it rhyme. And Nantucket is a perfect word.
Yeah, it is, because it rhymes with so many. It rhymes with a lot of stuff. It does.
Definitely. Yeah. Don't you agree, Janice?
I'm just not going to comment.
Well, see, even Paul Bond says Nantucket as absolutely.
And Paul, I wasn't going to correct them, but thank you.
No, it's just Hesleek likes it. Haiku.
No, haiku is not Nantucket. Limericks are Nantucket.
No, not so much. I do Japanese haiku, and as a matter of fact, the city of Nantucket is so famous in Japan that they needed to. Yeah, that's you.
Whatever you say, Basil, you're the boss today.
Barry White and some Ripple. Paul goes Barry White and some Ripple. Yeah.
Oh, and I'll sing. I sing a couple songs. Turn off the light.
The party's over.
Yeah. You got to warm up the pipes.
Oh my God. Okay, that's beautiful. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah,
Hesleek is
Paul,
watching
he
the
is.
show.
He's sticking to it. You're right.
But nah, but they're so few and far between. I don't even remember how to have a romantic night out. Honestly,
Really? I mean, I still like. Believe it or not, I still like romantic things. I really do. I got to be honest with you. You know, I I love to try to be romantic. I really do. I'm not saying I'm the most romantic guy. I'm not, but I try. I'll try and cook something. I try to my wife. You know what romantic is? Romance is. I took out the garbage without being told. Her heart flipper, just goes pitter patter, and she goes, "Oh my God, I don't know what to do. You took out the garbage. It's just I love when you do that." And she'll get down and get somewhat
You're
proclaim.
lying.
No, Janice. Nick Callis is watching from Cleveland because he knows Bob Golic's a big Cleveland guy. Lynn Delacus Midas is with us. And Lynn, she knows I'm a romantic guy. She'll tell you. I mean, for my listeners and viewers who are watching right now, what do you all do for romance? What do you expect from us men? I really want to get into that romantic thing. I do pretty good.
I believe you, man.
No, I really do.
Well,
totally
Hess says that you read a great poem at their house. It says Basil read a great poem at our my house wedding. I'm not sure our my.
At their wedding at their house, maybe.
Maybe that may be what was.
See,
intended.
a lot of people don't understand the softer side of Basil. It's not all rough and gruff. And when I do, because when I get into, sometimes people ask me to actually to officiate at their weddings. And that's another time where I bring some of the Japanese haiku along with the city of Nantucket. And it's a very touching thing.
During the wedding?
during the wedding vows, yeah.
Hey, little known fact, your boy JR is an ordained minister as well.
There you go.
Goodness.
Yeah.
There you go. You want to see my?
Wow.
You want to see my?
Many revelations today.
Yeah, my card.
I have mine. I have mine in my wallet too. I'm an ordained minister.
I'm so proud of that. I was happy. I married some friends of ours a few years ago. Yeah, Shane and Amy.
Yes. See,
who just had a new little boy. Sorry, another baby. Happy, second child to them.
See, I think that's romantic. I think that's beautiful, and and why not throw a little bit of humor in there? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When people get married, you want to throw the humor there because, and I'm going to tell you, it's hell after that. So you might as well throw the humor now.
Get it in now because there's no more humor.
No, there's no more humor. Yeah, you look at it, it says, the end of the love buffet is over. No more going to the love buffet. This is it. You get one meal only. That's it. And people are crying because they know. Right. Oh my gosh.
Whoa, anyway. Hey, listen, you see what Paul got for you?
What's Paul got? Rough and gruff. You're softer than erectile dysfunction. Wow.
Time for me to leave now, gentlemen.
Oh, Linda Lacus. Look at that. Linda Lacus Midas is ordained as well. You see? And that's the way. Yeah.
To the family.
And I think that's wonderful. I really do. I had a reception one time at a Taco Bell. And it was lovely. We did the reception. We did the wedding. Outside.
Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You said you had the reception at a Taco Bell.
Oh yeah.
That's what you said. Okay, all right.
Oh yeah. Because after you get married, you want to run to that border. You know what I'm saying? And that that's
that one fell.
I got to.
Yeah. What you got? Thank you. I'll be here all week. Try the taco sandwich. Try the chalupa. Some of the stuff they offer, man. I love a chalupa.
Good chalupa.
Man,
stuff.
It doesn't matter what time you go at Taco Bell. Janice, what's your favorite, restaurant, like fast food place?
Oh, good question.
Oh
Top
boy,
five. So let's need a top five, starting from 5.
well, I think that only because it's convenient, I like Steak and Shake because it's right on my way home.
Okay.
No, not good.
Go.
That was number 5. All right, number 4.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I
Oh
couldn't
man, let's
even
go.
name that many. I don't
Oh,
go to
wow.
that many.
All right, well,
No.
what would your next one be? Another one be?
I
Well,
just have no idea.
are you
I don't do
serious?
that much. Well, I'm not doing that much fast food. I'm not enjoying it. So I'm just not. I'm more going to restaurants and bringing it home, like something like Olive Garden or
Wait a minute. You bring Olive Garden at home?
yeah,
What about
yeah.
the endless salad bowl
No,
that
I
they
couldn't
have?
eat it anyway.
Oh, oh, hell no. Yeah, I'm telling you, I love that endless salad bowl.
Oh my gosh, I'd bathe in that dressing.
Hell yeah.
Love
Hell
it.
yeah. I mean, you
Love it.
smell for about a week or so, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
I've smelled worse than that deliciousness. Are you kidding me?
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my God.
So what about you, JR? What's your
Ooh.
best
Mm.
restaurant?
All right,
Favorite?
I'll
Top
give you a top five, going from 5 to 1. I'd say Burger King would be my number 5.
Oh, okay.
Wendy's number 4.
See, that's not easy, is it?
Bojangles number 3.
Really? Yeah.
Steak and Shake number 2. And I've only been to I've only been to Steak and Shake 3 or 4 times because
That's
It's
it?
really good though.
here, yeah, just when I travel for sports and stuff.
All right.
On one.
Okay.
My number 1 though, no questions about it. Anytime I go home to Asheville or anytime I'm traveling and I see one, I have to stop and get some food from there. Long John Silver's.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh my gosh, I'm not. And look, what's crazy? I don't even eat a lot of seafood. I'm not a seafood guy. But
Oh
I'll
my
eat some of
God.
that fish from Long John Silver's. I tell you what, good news.
You're first of all, you're crazy. Fish and Chips was the best place for fish. Okay.
Never heard of it.
Fish and Chips was a North Atlantic whitefish cooked in peanut oil. Was delicious. 364 degrees. I'm about to Bob said he's about to connect in a couple of minutes.
Good call.
Yeah, so I'm going to do number 5. Number 5.
Okay.
Church's Chicken. Church's Chicken.
The biscuits from there.
Oh man, how about when they have the gizzards, fried gizzards, and oh my God, I love those gizzards along with the livers. Oh yeah, you got to do a special order with that. Number 4, definitely Wendy's. Number 3, Burger King. I like it my way, and that's the only way. Hell yes. Number
2.
Number 2, that's a toss-up between Smithfield's. No, I'm going to go Smithfield's would be number 1, and number 2 is Taco Bell.
Wait a minute, man.
I went Taco Bell number 2, Smithfield's number 1.
Hey, man, I'm doing a sound effects thing after your choices, man. You got to
listen. Look, you brought the sound effects in the middle of the damn show. You didn't say crap about any of the damn things.
I'm trying to do a thing here, man.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Paul Bond, Arthur Treacher's. He actually worked for my uncle in Long Island, New York, for my uncle's Arthur Treacher's.
Is that just a up north?
No, man. Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips was all over the country. My family were one of the founding fathers of Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips. Always delicious. Absolutely. And I'm very excited about that. Let me know when Bob gets on. I will. Because he was going to hit that. But yeah, those are my favorite places. I love Church's. Church's delicious. I love it.
Falling off for me, man. The last time I had it, it wasn't as good as I remembered. The biscuits were delicious, but the chicken, it just wasn't as good as I remember.
Oh, chicken pieces were good. I also like Kentucky Fried. They did a better job with the stuff. But for me, man, Church's chicken, and I used to love I used to actually love when my mom would go in there because jalapenos were not we're not basically a big thing. So my mom didn't know how to pronounce jalapeno, right? So my mom would go sit there and she goes, I would like this, this, this. And there was this big jar. And she goes, and give me 3 of those jalapenos peppers that are
From the Jalapenos Island.
Oh my God, so funny.
So Basil, Peter wants to know if you still put avocado on your burgers.
I actually do, yeah. I love
Why
avocado.
wouldn't you? That's so good.
Oh my
That is
God.
perfect with avocado.
Avocados is fantastic. Yeah, I do. I put avocados. I typically will eat
Naked
an
and
avocado a
avocado
day.
is really good.
Naked and avocados is good. What did you say? Janice.
Wait a minute.
Janice. Yeah,
What's going
I mean,
on?
Bacon.
oh, bacon. Okay.
Bacon.
All right. Just want to make sure we don't want no naked avocados, because I don't know what you're doing with that.
You guys. Ay, ay, ay. I don't think I could come up with 5 fast food restaurants that I really like to eat. I just don't think I could.
Oh,
No?
man.
Not
Yeah,
even so. Was there ever a time, like even in your college days or anything like that, where you
Well,
really
in the
obsessed
past,
or-
sure. There were some, but not that I really enjoyed. Must be a guy thing, right?
Yeah, it is a guy thing. The
Yeah.
funny thing is Michael Gersh is on with us. He was a guest with us before. We got to get him back on the show. So I used to let me
Is that
see.
put him on my list kind of thing? Is that what that
Yeah, absolutely.
him
We got to put him
on.
on the list. For Bob Golic. Michael, I had Mike on my mind. He wants to know if for the Zoom on the phone, do you want him to go portrait or do you want him to go landscape? Landscape?
Yes.
Yes, go landscape.
Whatever
if you
that
can hear me,
means.
Bob. Landscape. He's going to have the phone this way instead of this way. Are you serious? You know the difference between landscape and portrait? The hell kind of director are you, for God's sake? You're a news director.
I don't know the technical term, just whatever sideways.
Hell, I was going to take you to Bojangles. You all messed that up. You're back down to Burger King.
We have a bid for White Castle. A lot of these places we don't have. I mean,
we don't
churches
have
we don't have. We don't have White Castle.
Yeah. We don't have we
them.
have churches here in Wilmington, but we do not have White Castle. I would love to bring one, but the thing is, it's family owned. You can't buy the franchise. So and it's supplied by the same people who supply Taco Bell and Kentucky Fried Chicken, believe it or not. So it's like, man,
interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Anyway, is Bob on with us yet?
He was in the lobby. He just backed out. He's trying to figure out his camera, it looks like, but he just backed out again. He was
All
in,
right.
but just backed out.
Okay,
I'll
cool.
let you know. I'll give you.
Yeah, let us know. Yeah, I mean, as far as
Basil thinks he's still a director too.
No, I am not. I am not. I've always, but I think for me, I love Mexican food too. I love good Mexican. El Cerro's down here. I think El Cerro's does a great, and I always do that El Diablo. Stuff that'll burn you going down. You never had the El Diablo? It's like the hottest thing they got.
I'm not interested in eating anything called the El Diablo, though. That just sounds like I'm setting myself up for failure. Like, what the hell, yo? Like, I'm just like, let me get the El Diablo, knowing good and well the outcome later on is.
And I do mean outcome. When you say outcome, you got
exactly.
That's where Satan comes out of you, literally.
So you literally go and order the Diablo.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it hot. It's El Diablo. It's like very spicy. This enchilada, spicy, which it's just unbelievable with the sauce on top, and it's just. And then my daughters and I will go through a whole thing of guacamole, and that's just good eating. That's all there's to it.
Well, Jerry, we're going to have to save rating sub shops for another episode.
For sure.
Oh my God. Well, it's all right. Not a problem, man.
Right, but yeah, Bob, he's there. He's in the lobby. If he can hear us, your camera is still sideways, though.
It's a little crooked.
If he can hear us just fine, but he's still sideways.
Well, that's just the way he looks.
Don't worry about the landscape. Yeah, just go ahead and bring it. Yeah, just don't even worry about it. Go ahead and let him in here in the lobby, in the show here, everybody.
Yeah, because I want to make sure I get his bio right. And this is the bio that he gave me. And just a wonderful cat, man. It really is. Let me give him the bio real quick. There he is.
How about now?
Oh, dude, you look marvelous. What's going on, man?
I want to hear more about the jalapenos. The jalapenos.
The jalapenos peppers.
My daughter has a tortoise that I think they got from Galapagos Pet Shop.
And a head shop. Okay, the head shop. Perfect.
Yeah, the head shop.
Boy, Bob, before we go any further, let me introduce you. One of my... I was excited about having you up until that line. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob Golic, graduate from the University of Notre Dame, 1977 national champions, drafted by the Patriots second round, played 3 years before being released and picked up by the Cleveland Brownies, my team. Played there for 7 years, 2-time All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowl player, signed with the LA Raiders in 89, played there for 4 seasons. In 1994, his acting continued when he was playing in Saved by the Bell, the college years. 5 years with NBC Sports as a game analyst, 2 years at CNN and NFL pregame show, Fox Sports Radio, talk show host, and Sports Fan Radio Network. Channel 19, Browns pregame. And by the way, to lose Doug Deacon as a play-by-play guy, man, that hurt me. But, it really was.
As long as they give me the job, it's okay.
It's okay then. Yeah, I understand, man. I understand.
I mean, how many years he's been doing that? Like forever.
Yeah, I think he was even doing it when he was playing. He got out of his uniform when the defense got on, and he got up anywhere. Man, Bob.
If I knew you were going to read that whole intro, I wouldn't have written it like that.
No. Too late now. Too late now.
Checks in the mail.
Man.
Good to have you, brother.
Thank you.
You've come to my shows. You've been there. I've always see you in and out, going here, going there. It's great to see you. You get big love by Paul Bond. Paul loves you. He's a good friend of mine. And just to have you on, because I have so many great memories watching you play as well, but there is so much more about you. And first of all, because I'm a family guy, what was it like growing up Golic in Cleveland with your crazy brothers and your father, who is an ex-ball player himself in the Canadian League? Yeah. What was that like?
It was pretty cool. My dad was, like a lot of guys back then, went into the Marines, and he played for Camp Lejeune, and they used to they used to travel around the country, and they would do things like play camp something or other. I don't know many camps, just Lejeune. It sounds cool.
Well, which is only about 45 minutes from us, by the way, because we live in Wilmington, North Carolina. That's where JR and I are at. So, yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic. I could care less, but...
Is this the way we're going to play? Is this the way we're going to go?
I'm just teasing. I'm teasing. I've had a rough day. The radio show today was rough. Anyway, my dad played after he got out of the Marines, he went to Indiana University for a year.
Right.
And him and Tom Kuzno's dad went to school together.
Really?
And I found that out later on after I kicked Tom's ass a couple of times. And okay, he kicked mine a couple of times too. But I found out that they were roommates. Evidently, my dad got hit over the head with a flashlight at a panty raid, and he threw the security guard off the porch, and then his college years were over.
Wow.
Hey, college years. We'll get to that later.
There you go. Hey, you see what he did there? That's
I'm segueing all over the place. What the hell? But you know what? He after he left Indiana, he played in Canada for 7 years, and I lived up there for a little bit. During the season, and when I got back, when we were back here, I just remember watching him working out in the off season, and I loved what he did. And so in 8th grade, when I told him I wanted to play football, he said, okay. And he went to the local school, the school where I went, and he went up to the coach and he says, I'm your new assistant. And so he took over the job, and he would take me out in the backyard about an hour before practice would start, and he had a big tackling dummy, and he would teach me how to block. He would teach me how to tackle. He would teach me how to get down in a stance, and he would do that every single day before I went to practice. And I to the point where I would show up at practice sweating, and the kids would be going, "What the hell's wrong with you?" My dad. But just as an aside, my entire career to the day I retired, my dad, in the summer, my dad would work me out. He would take me out to the field and put me through drills and running, sprinting, all kinds of agility drills. I mean, being a nose tackle, I didn't really need that much agility, but
would he what? No, it must have helped you for your wrestling career too, to be quite honest with you. But was Greg and Mike, I mean, did they all follow suit? Whatever you did, they did? Because you're the older brother, correct?
No, they sucked. They didn't like me. And
they sucked and was jealous of how good
those
you
little
were.
bastards. I still, why have they talked to you? Did they text you? I still want to. No, I'm just kidding. They started playing in high school. Like I went to St. Joe's. I went to Notre Dame. They went to St. Joe's. My brother Mike wore the same number in high school at St. Joe's that I did. Then they went into college at Notre Dame, where I was, and I had just graduated, and they were coming in, and he took my number again. I'm like, what the hell? No imagination here? And so he, and then obviously we all got drafted except Greg. Greg was like the biggest of the bunch. He wasn't like thick, but he was like 6'8", 6'9". He was an offensive tackle, and big, tall guys end up hurting their back a lot if they're not careful, and that's kind of what happened to him. But it was cool. It was cool working out with him in the summer, and Dad would put us all through workouts.
How cool is that? I mean, you go, like you said, from St. Joe's, which is a huge football school in the greater Cleveland area. You go to Notre Dame, you win the national championship. And I want to say, Lou Holtz was your coach back then?
No, Dan Devine.
So you still had Devine.
I was when I was getting recruited, the first phone call I got was from Era Parsegian.
Okay.
And I said, oh my God, Era Parsegian, this is amazing. The next week I got a call back, and then I heard a voice say, Bob, Dan Devine. I'm like, I can't play for the Packers yet, as far as I know.
Yeah, because he was their coach, right?
Because I'm the new coach, and that's a whole different story. But yeah, I played under Devine the whole time.
Okay, so you actually wound up also then. Did you wind up by any chance, because they made a movie about him, Rudy Rutinger? So was he part of your squad on the practice squad at that time?
They were actually until he got that sack in the last game. The movie was going to be called Bobby. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I had no clue.
No idea.
There's no reason you should. I'm letting it out now.
Oh, that crazy Hollywood.
Crazy Hollywood. They change their minds in a minute. 1 minute you're doing coach, the next minute you're unemployed again. He was a senior my freshman year, and so I watched him do all these things, run around like a crazy man and knocking the crap out of these guys, and watching them get a little pissed off because, they would call him practice All-American. But I was also a freshman, and I was one of those guys that felt like I'm supposed to practice hard. I didn't know that you were supposed to brother-in-law, just kind of like lean against each other. So I was doing the same thing Rudy was doing. Luckily, they passed it off as me being young and stupid, and they took it out on Rudy. But yeah, he's a great guy. When I was on the field, I had just dropped into coverage. I was playing linebacker then. Right. And I dropped back into coverage, and I saw these guys going in, and the quarterback starting to sprint to our right. And I started going, and then I went upfield because I thought he was going to run. And I saw Rudy kind of dive and grab him by the foot. Yeah, it was. And the first thing I thought was, oh my goodness, he's in one play.
And he makes a sack. The amazing part is the phone booth, supposedly the phone booth that he called his father on or whatever, he has that at his home. And actually, he saw my show. I was playing in South Bend, invited me to his place, and I signed his phone booth, which is this old wooden phone booth that he bought.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so it was very, very cool that my signature, my autograph is on there with all these Notre Dame greats and everything like that. So I was really thinking.
I actually took the sign of our favorite bar, Goose's, and I had that in my house. But I came over to my dad's house one time, and he goes, I needed to put a new top on my workbench. And he had cut up the sign like into pieces, and he was like working on it. I said, seriously?
What love you had? What love you all had and respect for each other's property at the Golic home?
I know. I mean, it was a piece of wood with a goose on it and said Goose's. I mean, it was so. I mean, there was a lot of memories to that place.
I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it, to be quite honest.
I know.
So you wind up also being a nationally ranked wrestler, which I wrestled too. I love wrestling. It made me a better ball player using my hands, and JR's an ex-ball player too. I don't know if he ever wrestled, but I always admired that, especially if you were a nose tackle and basically playing over. And you mentioned playing against guys like Mike Webster. How was he? I mean, going against some of these unbelievable centers. I mean, Jim Otto was way before your time, but someone like Webster and some of these other cats that you played against, and learning how to use your hands must have been such a great advantage. Being able to go playing that piano from guard to guard. I mean, do you miss that?
You told me. Thank goodness you said Otto was before my time, because I was about to go and start coloring.
Dude, way before your time.
way before my time. I mean, guys, when I played for Notre Dame, obviously I said I played linebacker. I was drafted by the Patriots as a linebacker, and I played there, did that. They found out that I wasn't really that good at it. Evidently, this thing called man-to-man coverage. I couldn't do that well. It meant running fast. They told me one time, they said, listen, you can hit the running back. If you're covering a running back, you can hit him if he's still in the backfield. And so every time I had man-to-man coverage on a running back, I'd go and I'd tackle his ass. God, I think you're doing it right. So anyway, they cut me. The Browns picked me up. And here's where it comes together is that guy named
Schottenheimer?
Davis. No. Davis was not Ben Davis. It doesn't matter. Anyway, great guy. He called me up and he asked me. I was at my parents' house. I'd driven home thinking, "What the hell am I going to do now?" My dad had called me. I called home on the way back. I don't think we had cell phones yet. But he said, "Hey, it's okay. If things don't work out, the Chicago Fire called you." I'm like, "Well, what is that? What was that, like the World League or something?" So I'm okay. So yeah, good. Next day I get a call from the Browns. And thanks, Dad, so much for cheering me up. The next day I get home and they call me at my parents' house and they said, "Bob, how would you feel about playing nose tackle?" And I said, I'm thinking nobody really volunteers to play nose tackle because then you're ineligible by the fact that you're too stupid. I said, well, I'm a linebacker. I'd rather play linebacker. And then they said, well, we own you now. And I said, I'd love to try it. It'd be kind of cool. And actually at Notre Dame, I played linebacker like 75%, 80% of the time.
Right.
About the other 20%, they'd put me up in the line and have me jump gaps and things like that. So it wasn't unusual for me. But later on, I asked them, and the next couple of days, I asked them. I said, why did you do this? And the one guy that called me was from the Cleveland area, watched me wrestle in high school, knew that I wrestled in college, and said, he goes, you were a local guy. It was, we know you're a hard player, and you had a wrestling background. And he goes, and what is wrestling other than being balance, strength, power, leverage, things like that, all the things you need to be a nose tackle. And then he said, and you only cost us $100. And I said,
well, again, these touching stories of love.
I hadn't even negotiated yet, but I had made $100. So
we got to play a clip because JR played this and he showed it to me, and we both thought it was something special. Play it, JR.
Okay.
Obviously, the importance of a team, playing certain teams and winning, like beating Pittsburgh or Denver or anybody, is important. But the way I was raised and my dad raised me was, the first thing you've got to do is beat the guy across from you. And so every time I lined up, it was obviously the score was important, but for me it was Mike Webster. It was, Dave Remington. It was, God, so many different centers who were just so challenging. And, he always told me it's if you do your job and everybody else does theirs, then you as a team are going to have success. When I first came to the team, I didn't know what I was doing. I had 2 sacks against one of the centers that were for the Bengals. And mainly because I didn't know what I was doing. Once they taught me how to pass rush, I didn't get any.
Dude,
this center, after I got my second sack on Kenny Anderson, the center looked at me and said, "You are the dirtiest player I've ever played against." And I literally said to him, "I don't know what I'm doing." I'm doing like the head slap thing. I mean, I'm doing like the Deacon Jones crap, which I thought was legal. Deacon did it.
Right.
I don't know.
No. Who was it? Conrad Dobler, I think, was the dirtiest player of them all. I read so many things. If you remember Connie Dobler, when I was a kid, and I would read things about Conrad, and I did a show with him one time called On the Betting Line, and Connie, I saw him up in in Kansas City. We filmed this thing, and it was called On the Betting Line or On the Line. It was a show that never made it, but we wound up doing the pilot and a couple of episodes, and Dobler, I mean, I would read some stuff about him. Oh, that's a dirty player. That guy was like, everyone hated him.
Oh, he was. Yeah, he did stuff that nowadays, well, you couldn't. There's nothing you can do these days. But yeah, he would stomp on people. He would hit you, when you weren't looking. But when you met him, was he not like the nicest guy in the world?
Very, very sweet.
I mean, when he walked in, I had a restaurant here in town for a while, and he came here one time. He showed up, and every time he said Bob, I flinched, and then I realized that
PTSD.
He was nice now. It was well, something to be said for stopping to taking those very special vitamins. Whatever those things were.
Whatever those little special vitamins were. Weren't they like M&M's? Something like that of a different... God, anyway.
I was told that a year or so before I showed up into, and I won't name the team, the Raiders, that they had like a bowl in the training room where it was like M&M's. But the guys were like, they knew how to medicate. Okay, here's some red ones for before the game. Here's some green ones for before the game. Some red ones for after. Here's some for inflammation. Here's painkillers. Here's some stick 'em. I mean, it was like, oh, geez, Medicate yourself.
What was it like? What was it like playing with the likes? I mean, listen, you were part of the original Dog Pound. Dixon, Minifield. You wound up having Alzado with you as well. I mean, I used to love Alzado because I always wanted to play just like him. I tried to emulate him, and I thought the greatest sack I ever saw, again, way before your time, was Turkey Jones when he flipped Terry Bradshaw over and tried to screw him into the ground. Now that was a sack, and
that's when Terry lost his hair.
Yeah,
it all fell off. It was
he rubbed it off.
It was. He doesn't like to admit it.
I actually played a scrimmage. I'm from Long Island, New York, and played a scrimmage against Islip. And there was a quarterback by the name of Boomer Esiason, or as that time, it was Norman Esiason. And I sacked him on his blind side, came in, and I was so impressed with that turn. I had because he wasn't as big back then, and I literally picked him up, and whistles are blowing left and right coming out there. Going, God damn it, I wanted to throw him on the ground. But Norm or Boomer, I'm sorry, best left hand. We always thought because on the county teams, we thought that he was an idiot because the Yankees offered him $1 million contract to pitch because he was the best left-handed prospect coming out of Long Island. And I'm like, and I'm not next to him dressing up, but I'm dressing up and I'm looking at him going, what a freaking idiot. You're giving up $1 million you're in high school, for God's sake.
If he had done that, he wouldn't be able to sit with all the other old guys at a table and talk about how crappy the young guys
new quarterbacks are.
Yeah. And the great thing about Boomer is it wasn't a sack. A lot of times I got hits on quarterbacks after they threw the ball, so they could have been sacked had it been a little faster. But back then you were allowed to land on the guy. And so he threw the ball, and I landed on him, and I heard this little, like a squeaky noise. It was like a dog toy. It went, eek, and I was, holy crap, I said, did you make that noise? And he was just like looking at me like, what? I got to tell you this story because it's a true story. 100%. One year we're playing in Cleveland, and beginning of the game, he drops the ball, jumps on top of it. I jump on top of him. It's a big fumble, and everybody's digging for it. And as we're unpiling, Boomer looks at me and goes, hey, Bob. We're still on the ground. And he goes, hey, Bob. Goes, do you wear cowboy boots? And I said, I don't know, once in a while. He goes, I got a buddy here that's opening up, he's got a shop in Cincinnati. He's opening a boot shop in Cleveland. And he wants to know if he can get like an autographed photograph of you. And he goes, I said, yeah, sure. He goes, he'll give you some free boots. And I said, okay, cool. So I called the person. We did the whole phone tag thing for a few weeks. We're down in Cincinnati playing them. Same thing. Ball gets knocked out. Boomer jumps on it. I jump on him. Guys are on top of us. We're all digging it. I had my hand on the ball, and I'm yelling, give me it, Boomer. Give me the ball, Boomer. Give me it. And we're just getting squashed by people. And he looks up from underneath going, hey, did you get a hold of that guy about those boots? And I'm hearing guys on top of me going, hey, Boom, can I get some boots too?
Oh my God.
I hate to break everybody's thought about what, right. You bastard, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to bite your knuckles off. No, we're negotiating.
We're negotiating.
We played phone tag, but he's going to get back to me, and I got a nice pair of snakeskins out.
Nice, very nice.
It was way after Urban Cowboy, but still, they weren't out of style yet.
Nonetheless, still, hey, you got it. Hey, let me ask you one question that the fondest memories playing for the Browns. Number one, to this day, the greatest game I ever went to watching from the field of one of the stands was the Jets double overtime victory. Because again, I'm from New York. And I was hitting that plate because I always loved the Cleveland Browns because my mother was from Cleveland. So it was always the Jets and the Browns. So I would say, nope, I'm a Browns guy now. This is me. That double overtime victory was phenomenal. And I still have the ticket stubs. And I told my cousin he wanted to leave in, the third quarter. So where are you going? He goes, well, we're leaving. We're losing. I said, no. You don't understand. You never leave a playoff game. Anything can happen. And lo and behold, it did. Greatest game. What was your favorite fondest moment as a Brown? Because we got a lot of Clevelanders listening, everyone from Fast Freddie Woke to everyone. A lot of Clevelanders are watching, and I knew they would. What was your fondest memory as a Cleveland Brown? What was the most depressing? I can think of 2 depressing times as a Cleveland Brown, but what was your fondest memory?
It's been a lot of years since that one saddest memory.
Yeah.
And I've been medicated, and I've been talked to the right people about getting it. And so I know that there were no more football games after that Jets game. After that Jets double overtime, there was no more games. There was nothing called the drive. It didn't happen.
What about the fumble? I'm sorry. Did I bring that up? I'm sorry. Was that the other depressing time
I'm
for
still
you?
in therapy for that one. I don't know.
You had 2 greatest backs in the world with Mack and Biner, for God's sakes, and 2 1,000-yard gainers. And I'm like, there's no way we are losing to Denver again. And man,
these could have been the 2 greatest games of all time, but now they're like, it's like a mini series. Hey, you've got the drive and followed up by the fumble. I mean, thank God we didn't play them the next year. I mean, who knows what would have happened? But those were probably. I mean, I don't know how to make it any worse. How to make anything any worse than that? I mean, I've broken bones that were less painful than those 2 games. Good thing was that in the game, the fumble, I had broke my arm against the Steelers at the end of the game, at the end of the season, last game of the season. So I didn't actually play in the game that was the fumble. So none of it was my fault. I have a tendency to go back and check things like that. When you watch guys on the field, what do they do after the play's over? You see them all looking up. They're looking at the instant replay at the diamond vision because they want to see if they screwed up or not. They're going to go, oh crap! It's going to look like crap tomorrow with films. I'm going to get yelled at. You hated that stuff. Good stuff. There's so many good things about playing in Cleveland. I mean, being born and raised here, going to high school. My parents were here. I can't find a play or a game. I just know that putting on the uniform that I grew up being a fan of. I used to drive in. Me and Modell were the only ones that lived on the east side of Cleveland. And so on Sunday mornings, I would drive in, and a lot of times you'd have people hanging sheets over the bridges and stuff on the freeway, going, go get them, go Browns. And when we went out on the field to warm up, and then we'd go back in right before the game started, our last warm up, and then we'd go back in the locker room. We had to go in the old stadium. We had to go into the Indians dugout. Then we went up this dark, dank tunnel and finally ended up in a locker room. And my dad, I always talked to my dad before games on the phone, no matter where I was. But now I was in Cleveland. So the first time, I mean, they lived there. So the first home game, he came down and he was like trying to get through all these people. Trying to get there and trying to get down so he could say, and he always told me the same thing. He said, Bobby, who's the best one out there? And I say, I am, Dad. And he goes, you better believe it. You go take it to him. He goes, you give it your all. And the first time when people found out that it was my dad, every home game after that, it was like, hey, get out of the way for Mr. Golic. let Mr. Golic through. And it was just like, I mean, they had the fans. They loved the Browns. I loved the Browns. They had respect for us. They had respect for my dad. Let him get down there. Let him get ready. It was, college is cool because you're putting up signs and it's all rah-rah stuff. For me, I felt like I was living on campus. I was living in Cleveland. I felt like I was living on campus, and it felt like you went down there and all the students said, "Screw it, I don't care if I have a paper due. I'm going down to the game." And it just had a real special feel to it.
And JR's got a question. He's been hammering to ask. Go ahead, JR.
Oh yeah. So I played offensive lineman a little bit. So what do you have? A couple of names of some of the toughest offensive linemen that you went up against in the NFL?
There was a guy named JR that. No, I'm kidding.
I'm kidding.
You don't want any of this. Like
there was. God, Mike Webster. I think goes without saying. I mean, this guy was like 6 foot tall, about 275, and his arms were they looked like honey baked hams hanging out of his sleeves. And he was just like the nicest guy in the world. I've told this story 1,000 times. He drove me about 3 yards off the ball, and we were in the old Cleveland Stadium. It was all mud and dirt, and they would try after baseball season to put sod down, and it wouldn't take. They were like carpets all over the place, grass carpets, and so he drove me one time off the ball. I get up, I got grass stuck on my face. And I feel this hand grab my arm and help me up. And I turn like, who the hell? And he goes, "Bob, you are getting better and better every time I play against you." And I was just gonna rip into him. But I figured, why piss him off? So I said, "Gee, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it." But I mean, he was one. God, there was a couple of guys. That were just good. I mean, really good linemen. And Anthony Munoz, luckily I didn't have to play against him all the time. Clay Matthews' brother, Bruce, was a badass. I had to play against him a number of times. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there was a bunch. And sometimes the linemen that I played against were better than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
When I was my first year with the Raiders, we went to another AFC championship, which I tried to tell them I don't want to go, but they made me go. It was in Buffalo. I said, "You don't understand. It's going to end up on a sitcom." And so we ended up in Buffalo, and it was like really cold. I mean, it was so cold. Howie Long is going, "Hey, what are you going to wear? You're wearing a sweatshirt under your pants? You're wearing silk?" I said, "No." I said, "I can't wear the silks under because they slide around. It makes everything wiggle." And so we're having discussions about how to stay warm. And at that point, I'm thinking, God, we're going to get our asses kicked. So yeah, it was a bad time. But Kent Hall was the center for Buffalo, and I always seem to have trouble with him, especially in Buffalo. We got our asses kicked. The first half it was 41-0, and they were beating us. And we went into the locker room, and the coaches yelled at us, and then told us, "Okay, this is what we're going to do." And then right before we went back out on the field in the second half, Marcus Allen gets up and goes, "They scored 41 points in the first half. We can score 41 points in the second half." And we're all getting ready to cheer. And he goes, "Can't we?" Hell. Thank you, Mr. Motivational Speaker. It was unbelievable. But it worked. It worked. We held them to 10 points in the second half.
You held them to 10 points. What did you guys put up?
So we only lost 51-3. But it at the end of the game, Kent goes out because at the end of the game they're winning like 51-3, the last quarter, and it's like you don't want to leave your starters out there to get hurt because you're going to the Super Bowl, and these guys aren't. And so this kid comes out, and I wish I could remember his name, but he used to paint his face with like WWE stuff. Oh God, I wish I remember his name. Anyway,
he may have played for the Vikings afterwards and stuff like that, because there was a guy who used to paint his face practically.
Yeah. He came up to me, and first play we hit and ended up on the ground, everybody's on the ground, and we're all laying around and getting up, and he goes, Mr. Golic, Kent said you were a really good guy and that I shouldn't take any cheap shots at you. And I said, and again, I was going to go, you little son of a bitch. I'm going to tear you up. But I said, I appreciate it.
You should have asked them, is there a place where I can buy some boots here in Buffalo?
Exactly. Muckle, big giant fur boots.
Oh my God!
He literally said that to me, and I felt like. I mean, at that point, we knew we were going to win. We were just trying to find a way to make the clock go faster, and I just thought it was nice of him to
at least ask,
to be so thoughtful.
Yeah, Bob, I got to tell you, this has been one of the most enjoyable interviews we've ever done. And I'm sorry that I had to have wait a minute. JR's got a question before because we didn't even get touching on your acting career. Go ahead, JR.
Exactly. So how did Saved by the Bell come about? Like how did that come about? How did you get involved in that show come about?
Me and Tiffany Amber Thiessen were a thing, and we used to go out and we didn't.
I mean, look at you.
She was 18. Come on, man.
I wasn't thinking about that. My bad. I wasn't thinking about that. My bad.
19.
Right. 19. Okay.
That's what she told me. I swear to God, she told me that. I had done a show. I got called in by one of these big producers, and he had seen me on a show called Home and Family, which was kind of it's on now on the Hallmark Channel or something during the day, and it's just like a talk show, but everybody does different things. And I was, 1 week I would talk about football, and next week I would go outside and make a redwood play set, and then the 1 week I'd come in and I'd sew a dress for my kid. And he goes, and I saw you on TV doing interviews a lot. He goes, I thought you would, you'd work out with these things. So they had me come in. I talked to this guy for about 2 hours about football. He goes, I want you to be on a sitcom called Good Advice, and it was Shelley Long's first show after Cheers, and it was I said, okay. So we talked for a while about football, and I said, when do I audition? He goes, you got the job. Okay. And so I did that one. I ended up getting another job called on an episode of Coach. And it was on a show called The Bigger They Are. It was kind of a Lyle Alzado type thing. I was interviewing, actually when the Super Bowl was out in LA, I was interviewing Bill Fagerbakke for a cable show. And after the interview was over, he goes, we got a show coming up that you might be interested in. And I'm thinking, oh my God, he thinks I'm like an actor or something. So I said, have your people send my people the script. And so he sent it over, and essentially I'm one of Coach's old players from whatever, Minnesota State or whatever.
Yeah, it was Minnesota State.
Yeah. I played in the NFL, but I was retiring from the NFL because my knees hurt so bad, and they were going to retire my jersey. And while we're at the cabin, I say to him, I'm really retiring because I have cancer. And he said, what? And I tell him, I think it's from all the steroids I took. And, it goes on from there. And really cool ending. I mean, just really cool. You know,
I'm gonna
it's
look that up.
it won a bunch of drug awards. And we went to this one dinner, and Craig T. Nelson went up there and didn't call me up. That bastard. I'm still pissed at him.
Oh, that's
At least you
If
know.
I ever see Craig T. Nelson again, I'm kicking his ass.
Yeah, well,
And if you're watching, Craig, I liked Jerry Van Dyke better. I thought he was funnier.
actually, Van Dyke was hysterical on that show.
He was. Anyway,
every time.
short story long, as usual. I started auditioning for some things. I was auditioning for Robin Hood Men in Tights, the movie
Sure.
with Mel Brooks, and literally had to interview with him. And I'm just like going, he go, okay, do your line. And I'm like, Mel Brooks. And then I did a bunch of auditions for Saved by the Bell. Me and this one other guy always seem to show up at the same auditions. He got Men in Tights. So if you watch Men in Tights, he's a big blonde guy wearing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Eric Allen Kramer, I think his name is. And I ended up getting Saved by the Bell, and I showed up, and I guess they saw me as being. They needed a former football player in his mid to late 30s. And I think I was able to convince him that I could play that. I mean,
you didn't have to go too far to stretch for that, huh?
And the rest is history. Now I'm on. Now I get checks for $4.72 every 3 months.
But you're on the Pinch of Basile show, man. So that makes up for everything.
I know. When's the replay? I want to watch it.
You get to do that later on tonight.
I'm so excited. Can we do another one?
Absolutely. You can come on anytime you want. Brother, I play back and forth, and I love coming into the studio, but I haven't because of all the COVID nonsense that's been going on.
Right.
So just to let you know, next time I want to come back because I like to talk of Akron. You know that. And I've always been on in the studio all the time. Bob, anytime you want on, you have been a fantastic guest. You made us laugh.
Thank you.
You brought back good memories. My cousin George, who I was at the Jets game with, was sitting there. Goes, "You have to bring that up, man." The story. He just texted me.
It was amazing, though. I mean, everybody was leaving,
and then everyone came back,
and they tried to come back in.
Yeah. I never forgot that. And I still have the stubs on that. I still have the ticket stubs. Hey, man, Bob.
Cleveland,
thank you.
baby.
Yeah, absolutely, my brother. Yeah. I love Cleveland. I'm Browns fan through and through, Indians fan through and through, even love my Cavs. But I want to say thank you so much on behalf of JR, Janice, who again asked so many questions.
Just a ton.
She was reading, wasn't she? She got that whole library behind her. Oh my God.
She actually read all those books. That's not for show.
Are they coloring books? I got one, but
every single one of them. Every single one of them. Absolutely. And I've colored in all of them.
I hate it when they're filled up too.
Yeah, you gotta hate that. Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, Bob, thank you so much for being on the show, my brother.
Pleasure.
I'm going to give you a text later on tomorrow.
Okay.
But again, God bless, man, to your everyone in your family, everyone around that you're associated with. Browns through and through. I love you, my brother. Thank you so much for being on the Pinch of Basile
You're
show.
very welcome. Great talking to you guys.
Great talking with you.
Take care.
Nice
God bless, man.
Bye-bye. Now, how do I turn this thing off?
Just like that. What a great sense of humor, man. Oh, my God. And the boot story with Boomer was hysterical.
That was great, man. Oh, that was a lot of fun. That is a character. That was good stuff.
He's a character and a half. But you know what? The funny thing is, like my cousin George says, that interview could have gone on for another couple of hours. It's the great thing is he's self-deprecating. He doesn't take himself seriously. As great of an athlete as he was, and truly, he was His junior year, he was top 3. I thought he was national champion. I take that back. He was the third runner-up, or the second runner-up, a national wrestling champion, national champion in football. To play all those years, 13, 14 years as a pro in the NFL.
Back then, in the real days, when it was real, when football was the real deal. You know?
No two ways about it, man. No two ways about it. And just a tough hombre, and just one of the greatest guys. But I think I told you the story. He came to the club, and I went, and I was calling back and forth, and we saw each other at the radio station. He shook my hand. Now, I have a big palm. I have a big hand. He shook my hand, and his hand went around my hand. I felt like a child shaking an adult's hand, and I was like, oh, man, I would have hated to wrestle this guy. I would have hated to play ball against this guy. But one of the sweetest guys in the world. Again, to the entire Golic family, Bob, thank you so much for being part of this show. One of my favorite shows we've done, and it's just been great. It really has.
He was fun. He was funny. Yeah, what a great guy.
The boot story I'll never forget. And if I ever talk to Boomer again, I gotta say, hey man, where are my boots? You didn't offer me any boots.
You got to be part of the pile.
Evidently.
That's the worst thing in the world, Basil. If you like being on the bottom of a fumble pile,
oh man,
it's the worst and damn near scariest thing in the world. Feel like you're gonna die, can't breathe.
No, you got over about 2,000 pounds on you too. You got like almost there. If there's a big pile up and you're talking like 10 people, 7 people, that's close to 2,000 pounds of meat that's on your ass.
Gouging at you everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah. And they'll
everything.
Spit on you, bite you, whatever they can get their hand. Oh my God. But what a great story. Anyway, listen, man, this is what a great show. For all the people that were watching, Mr. Freddie Woke, whom I love, big time radio man at Y103 in wonderful Youngstown, Ohio. Thanks for listening, Fred. Andrew Rallis, my cousin. I love George Pastis, Maria Perianos O'Connell. And let me see, Freddie Woke again, Linda Lakis-Midas, Manny Canis, Paul Bond, all the list of regulars that we have, and all those who will be listening. Listen, I want to thank you all for listening. Great show, great time, great hosts, and I am proud to be part of this show. I love you guys very, very much. Hey, man, have a great evening, y'all. Peace.